We're not
is.
nervous.
No, that's good.
All right, we're here on
See?
the show. We're back on the show. I can't believe you guys are nervous, right?
We are.
Who's nervous? It happens.
You don't look
Yeah.
nervous, and you know there's things you can do if you're nervous.
What can you do?
Let's do
Tell us.
breathing.
Okay, let's do
Breathing.
it.
Start to do some yoga, you know? Inhale up, exhale. Okay,
And
we're good.
what do they call you?
The yoga teacher creature. Actually, he's the creator of that.
I am.
Of the
name.
name
Exactly.
teacher
The
creature.
yoga teacher creature.
So explain why you call me that.
Because she's wild, she's nuts, and she's brave, very unique.
And she's the yoga teacher.
The yoga teacher.
That's-
She's the
Creature.
initiator of
Yeah.
the studio.
And when
So-
they say nuts, you think genius.
Right? You're right.
She's beautifully genius as well, for
So
sure.
let's just do a quick introduction.
All right.
We have Lou here, Joey and John from the House of Yoga,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
Which is
yeah.
a ganja-friendly
Ooh.
yoga studio here in Toronto.
Yes, indeed.
and Ganja Yoga Toronto is the website.com. So let's. So you're the yoga teacher, Lou? Is that it?
I am the yoga teacher. I started that 4 or 5 years ago. No, 4 or 5 years ago. I was by myself, you know. So, but I started to do Ganja Yoga with Dee. You guys know Dee, you know.
Dee Dussault.
So yes, I was doing yoga already for about 8 years of my life, and then I was in Montreal, and then I moved to Toronto. And one day Dee said, "Please, Lou, come to do my Ganja class." And I was like, "Okay." And I have just this marvelous experience in her class. It was so beautiful to be a student again, which is very hard. Sometimes when you teach, you just teach, and you don't have opportunity to be a student.
I know
so,
that.
Yeah, you go there, and then I was like, oh my God, I'm a student. And on the top of she served the cannabis. And I think it was the most beautiful experience.
Now, was
like
that your
with
first
my
time
body.
using cannabis?
You know what? I was not using cannabis that time, and to tell you the truth, I was I would say 10 years ago, I was actually against cannabis.
Yeah.
Very against cannabis, which is funny. The people that know me for a very long time, they say, oh, Lou, now you're the ganja queen, and before you were doing this.
Right.
But it's because I have no knowledge.
Yes.
I have no idea what's happening to this plant. So all the information that I have is the information from the media telling bad. And my daughter got really sick. She used to suffer from juvenile arthritis.
I see.
By the age of 8 years old, she could not walk anymore.
Mm-hmm.
She was in severe medication. Like I remember I have this box with 8 kinds of medications.
So your daughter had arthritis.
Yes, and it was very bad. And the information from the doctors was, she will gonna end up in a wheelchair, and she will gonna be blind because she has inflammation all over her body. So her eyes, and for the age of 8 years old, she could not walk anymore. So her hands were like this, her arms were like this. Her body was like,
and at that time, you were not pro ganja.
No,
right,
no
go
ganja
on.
at all. I was just doing normal yoga.
Right.
And I have a beautiful brother,
Yes.
and my brother, he loves cannabis. He always, we call him the Santa Maria son. That's how we call him in Brazil, Santa Maria son.
Okay,
And then
now
he
I know
said,
what to say on the phone. Thanks. Go on.
Yes. And then he said, Lou, I think you should try to give a little bit cannabis to Lila Lou because she's in pain. You know what I mean? And cannabis is also very powerful anti-inflammatory.
It is.
So I started to, I connected to the plant, and then he gave me a little bit, and then I gave to Lila Lou. And I remember this day was one of the most beautiful days in my life because while she was crying, she was telling me, Mother, thank you very much because I can sleep with no pain.
My God.
And for me to see that day, I looked at the plant in a different way. But then I started to use that plant just for her in the house.
Yes.
And then going back to Dee, so one day Dee said, Look, come here to do the class. And I said, okay, I'm going to smoke. So I smoke. And then my praxis was, wow, it was just different. My body was different. I was connecting to myself. And then one more time, I have another proof in my life that says, what do people are talking about?
Yeah.
This plant is so beautiful. And, I'm a very workaholic. I work a lot, and I'm very busy. They know how, I love to work. I love what I do.
Wonderful.
But sometimes, you don't have a time to stop and to connect to yourself, you know what I mean? And when I did the cannabis, it just gave me that beautiful peace, My practice was beautiful. When I left the class, it was beautiful. And then I was like, wow, this is so amazing. But anyway, I started to do, and then I started to continue with my normal yoga class until I got the head shop. So I got the head shop 4 years ago. And
Wait, what do you mean?
Which is
He's not selling heads.
Yeah.
Wait, you own a head shop?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I got to the head shop in Blair and Christie, and in that head shop, I said, you know what, I'm going to offer just yoga. So I started to offer yoga classes, but then I started to offer one Ganja class.
Yeah.
Man, it was full.
Yeah.
It was full, the class. And the people that come to do yoga classes too are very beautiful. They're very different from the other community. It's a different population. I started to meet the most beautiful, the most marvelous people, and I was like, this is beautiful. So from one class became 2 to 2 to 3 and 3 to 4.
But before we give the impression
Yeah.
that the reason that your classes are filling up is because now you have weed, right? It's not really that.
I don't think it's just that.
No.
Yes.
But I want to say this, okay? So it's not like I don't use cannabis, of course.
Yeah.
Right. But I do meditate, and I know, and I have done yoga, and I do know that there's two things that you want to be able to do, and well, no, actually, I was thinking there's one thing you want to be able to do, and there's one result that most people want to have. So like when you go into a state of meditation or when you go to do your yoga posture, you know, I was very interested in how you were talking about how you're a workaholic and how your head gets all full of stuff. Well, I was trained that I'm supposed to clear my mind and I'm supposed to stop my thoughts, and that one of the results I'm going to get is peace. And I think that cannabis is a plant that has both of these elements that are part of the experience of having it. One is that it will clear your thoughts and allow you to focus. Not that I have any experience with that.
No, but we've heard it from people who have allegedly used the substance.
Rumors.
Yeah.
Yes.
So according to the rumors, it is a very peaceful experience, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, THC it's a beautiful, thing that the plant, the component of the plant has to makes you forget. That's what the plant it is. The THC on the plant is to protect against the other bugs and things. So when we consume actually that flower, it's so beautiful because it makes us to forget. Can you imagine if we were beings that we would remember everything that happens in our lives? You would actually not be good. So cannabis just enhances that. In that moment, you were with yourself, with your heart, doing your praxis. So it's a marvelous plant. It's a remarkable plant, yeah.
Wonderful.
So, Joey and John, so how did you guys get involved with this Ganja Yoga?
Now I leave it to you guys.
Well, we both attended Lou's class, fell in love with the practice.
Yes.
And the person.
Yes.
The person.
That's wonderful.
And are now practicing yogis there.
Yeah.
We attend Lou's classes and also facilitate our own practices there as well. I found when I first started doing Ganja Yoga that I came into Ganja Yoga at a time where there was a lot of pain in my body in a way that is not there as much now. And that movement was very difficult for me. But I found with Ganja Yoga, I became much more curious about exploring the pain instead of reacting and trying to run away from the pain. I was more curious about, this is how it feels to have my muscles stretched. This is and be much more explorative with it, less hesitant to go into the feeling of discomfort at the beginning. And anybody gets into movement at the beginning, it can be quite difficult. And I found Ganja Yoga was really, really helpful for me to do.
Excellent.
And I kind of did it somewhat on my own, but I loved it in a guided practice. I would do basically. I think maybe a lot of people kind of naturally have done it, where they are at home, smoke, and suddenly start stretching. It's sort of a natural sort of thing,
He has no idea.
He has no idea. Yeah.
But according, to certain research that has crossed our desk,
I've read a lot of the clinical work.
Two out of two people have said
that's right.
That yes, it works for them.
Hey, can we do like a little tiny bit of yoga? Like not right now, but at some point.
For sure.
Like after the
is
show?
there stuff we can do that we're just sitting?
Sure.
And then Hugh can do it too?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
You can do.
Because breathing's a big part of it, is it not?
Huge part of it.
And John, maybe you can talk about or any of you actually, but
Sure.
breathing and the Ganja part of it, does it affect how the breathing and the yoga kind of work together?
I have to say yes. It has a very calming effect overall. Both strains, both the sativa and the indica, have a very relaxing effect on the body. And being more relaxed, you tend to have a more relaxed breath. Having a more relaxed breath tends to give you a more relaxed and calm mind. So the net effect of ingesting these herbs is that you gain a certain level of calmness. And that calmness translates into your breath and into your whole life. Like once you begin to control your breath, you begin to calm your mind, and your whole life begins to become very calm. Depression and anxiety tend to kind of fizzle away, and you become very present in your actions, very conscious in your day. So.
Nice.
Amen.
Yeah, those are a lot of, again, it's like it's as though, getting validation for all of this, I know it's difficult, okay? And I know that presenting ganja as a tool that is of benefit, there's a lot of stereotyping around it, like, oh, you're just going to sit in front of the TV and eat Cheetos all day long. But you're not, right? You guys are proving
not
that.
all the time.
Well, no, not all the time. Sometimes you have Lays.
Exactly.
But we do know that cannabis has been used in connection with yoga for some tens of thousands of years, really, in India.
Do we know that? Is that true?
Well, now we do. And now we do. And if you want to, what I want you to do is I want you to Google sadhus, SADDHUS, ganja, or sadhus and HASH. And then what you'll find there's these awesome people, they're yogis. And so I think now that you guys are telling me, like, we're talking about this, right? And I'm seeing that, the correlation between what happens when you meditate and what happens when you smoke ganja, right? And so that's what they do, is they have temples. They in Nepal they have real temples, like real big temples, and they're surrounded with real big fields of ganja, and then they roll it up into these black balls, about yay big, and they put gold stamps on them and stuff, and then they take them up to the yogis who are up in the hills, and they offer it to them.
I've seen some of those balls with those gold stamps on them.
Great.
On TV.
Yeah. Just on TV.
Just on TV.
Yeah. So where is your studio again? And how do we get down there? And how do we start to experience, whether or not there is a correlation between these things, and how to, it's kind of like you're bringing India to Toronto, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the studio, that's the beauty of that studio right now, not just the community itself. I think we create something very beautiful. In the beginning, I started, so for sure, it was just myself, you know what I mean? Not just, for sure, like you said, the ganja might bring people, but I think the action of sharing the ganja already create a contact, which is very different if I go to a yoga class, I put my mat and I sit there and wait for the teacher to give me the instruction. When I have that action of you smoking the cannabis and I have to turn to you and look inside your eyes, it creates a whole different environment.
Yes. Wow.
And because I have my beautiful people right now, so in these 4 years, I started to do yoga teacher training. I started to meet so many beautiful people and people interested in the way that I do my practice, So now we have a variety of things going on in the studio. John, for example, has a class that runs to 8:30 in the night to 2 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes they go into 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
And he's the best person to talk about his class because people ask me, how you guys do yoga for so many hours?
Right.
So,
what is that?
Yes, John, please.
Tell us about that. That sounds great.
We begin the practice, it's a very long practice, so I break it down into 90-minute segments. We tend to start the first half an hour as just basically welcoming everybody. I try to get everybody into a restorative posture and introduce myself if people have not been to the studio, but also inquire as to the state of each individual's current body condition, so whether they have any pain and what they notice about their body today. Today is all important. The right now is really what we're trying to focus on.
Right.
So we have a smoke, we have some herbal tea, and then we begin the practice, generally lengthening the body and stretching, and then getting some core heat, and then getting into a nice meditative practice. So we try to do a moving meditation within the yoga practice, vinyasa flow. And so that would generally be a 90-minute practice. Then we'll stop that, have some more tea, have another smoke. Sativa again, we try to keep the sativa flowing in the early part of the practice just to maintain that cerebral connection. And then after the first break, then we would tend to move into a meditative moving practice, so Osho meditations or other forms of, we say, sun salutation meditations. So again, keeping the body moving, lots of breath flowing, and trying to. So I tend to turn off all of the lights, so we do it in complete darkness.
Wow.
Turn off the sound, so you
Right.
don't have any external distractions.
Right.
It's all about coming inside and exploring your own being. So we do that in the darkness. With no sound,
Yeah.
and then so we do 90 minutes of that. Then we'll have another smoke, more tea, and then we'll go into, sometimes I will do a guided meditation. So I'll try to take people on a spirit walk, or I'll try to encourage people to explore themselves within their own meditation practice. So we do many types of seated meditation, sometimes moving meditation. Excuse me, and then we'll finish with an indica, and then a guided relaxation and savasana.
That's so cool.
It's
right?
beautiful. It's a
And most
beautiful
people
class.
don't notice that they've been there for 8 hours.
Yes.
You know, and I forgot about that part. I mean, not from my own experience, but yeah, you know, it'll keep you going, won't it?
Absolutely.
Right?
It
Like
can,
in
yeah.
Africa, of course, that's another place where it originates, and they use that there when you're working. It's not like for sitting down and entertaining yourself. It's for keeping you to keep going. And then it's interesting you do, like, you know, there's a certain Buddhist practice called dark retreat. And another part of, like, meditating, which I don't do a heck of a lot since I got to Toronto. So I have got to get down to your studio. You were saying, am I going to come down and do this? Yes, I totally am. But that is to be able to not have the input of things that are going to affect your experience. So the darkness, or to be in nature, but if you can't, then you're providing the dark. That's
Yes.
that's
The
awesome.
studio is very beautiful. We play with a lot of lights, so
Yes.
it's low lights and it's very colorful lights in the beginning. So as we go to approaching Shavasana in the end, everything gets pitch dark.
Yes.
So we do Shavasana, our sessions in the dark. So
Right.
it's very beautiful. It's very calming. You know,
No, is this
so-
at your store?
Yes.
Is that
yes.
where it
It's
is?
in front is the head shop, and in the back is the yoga studio. So it's all,
And where is it? And what's it called? So
Bloor and Christie,
Yeah.
the House of Yoga, Conscious Consumption, 714 Bloor Street West.
Yes.
Yeah, and we have a different
714
Bloor. Yeah.
Bloor Street
Directly
West.
behind Christie subway station, so
Right.
50 meters from the station, and
Close to the park, too.
Close to the park. Sometimes we actually do, in the summer, we do yoga in the park. Some of them
Oh,
just
perfect.
Start in the
Yeah.
studio,
Yeah.
hike to the park, and do yoga in the
And like
park.
we said before, we have a
silence.
different classes. For example, my classes are just 1 hour and a half. 1 hour and a half because they're very hard. My classes are the most hard.
Yes.
So if people wanted something more relaxed and they need the time, so they would go to different teachers. Joseph, for example, is the master of pranayama, and his classes are, you can explain about your classes
yeah.
better than me.
Tell us
It's
about
very,
them.
very restorative.
Yeah.
More frequently than not, it's almost all groundwork. We may get in tabletop pose, which is basically like crawling around the floor pose. But besides that, almost all of it's groundwork. Twisting and moving the body, lots of breath work, and continual focus on the breath and the feelings of that are going on in the body at the same time. And twisting and turning, it's a nice practice.
Nice.
Very gentle. I'd say.
Nice. And so we were talking earlier that you're from Brazil.
I'm from Brazil.
And that energy is very powerful. It's very strong. It will get you going. I'm gonna just assume that anybody who comes to your class definitely learns something.
yes.
Okay, and there's no
Yes,
doubt about that, right? And then you're offering a different aspect of that. That's great. You know,
Yeah,
because
that's what we build, these beautiful yogis and individuality. Because when I started my teacher training, it was funny because it was John. I was not doing teacher training. I was not interested to do that. I was just working by myself, you know what I mean? But I was getting tired too, I was like, oh my God, it's a lot of work, me giving all yoga classes. And John came once to my class and he said, when are you going to do your next teacher training? I said, I'm not doing it. And he said, please, I want to be your student. I have to be a student. I said,
After
I'm
the
not
first
doing
time I
this.
met her.
My first time, and then he said, I'm not doing this. And then he came to the second class, please, when are you going to do teacher training? I'm like, I'm not doing this. Just forget about it. Forget it. You can go to another yoga studio. You go to another place. And then third time, please, you have to be my teacher. I love your practice. I love the way that you conduct. And then I have another girl came to my class and said, when are you going to do your teacher training? So 2 people, and then I sit and I said, look, it's time to do this. You know what I mean? So then I create, I start to do teacher training.
That's so weird, okay? Because also, like in Buddhist tradition, okay, this is a traditional thing. When I went to my Lama and I wanted to get this certain teaching rate, according to the tradition, you have to ask the teacher 3 times. You have to want it so badly so that you can determine that is a dedicated student and they are willing to come back and hear
dedicated student, you were.
So you guys are bringing in a lot of interesting stuff probably you don't even realize, right?
Yes.
Just by following your intuition, because we're all the same. There is no like people in India doing it over there or people in Africa. We're all one human family finding our way along this journey, right?
And because of that happening too, this is the first year, actually we're offering right now a Ganja certification, a yoga teacher training oriented to Ganja, because people might think that, it's very simple, you just put a vaporizer there and serve cannabis to the people. It's not. I consider that a small shamanic ceremony. When you go there, it's a very shamanic experience. That's why you come in a certain way and you're going to live like, wow, what just happened to me? Because our job in there is not just to be giving asanas and giving yoga practice to the people, it's to take care of them. You have to be a yoga teacher, you need a lot of responsibility, a lot of care. You have to look your students. That's why it's so beautiful, the community right now, because I know each one of them individually, so we don't have to watch too many the people that you already know that has been with us 3 years. But the new people that are coming, you have to have a certain, order onto things. It's not just a lot of people say, she's a Ganja teacher, I'm just going to go there, smoke, and I'm going to lie down. And no, it's not like that.
Well,
actually, I'm
because irresponsibility and laziness and all these other stereotypes that are associated with it don't really need to be associated with it at all.
Yeah, I don't want to be associated to that.
No.
And that's why when they come to my class, they're like, oh my God, how people smoke. My class is very hard. I was talking to you before. I come from a background that I was doing capoeira, judo, jiu-jitsu. I was a judo. So I came with that background, and I kept, when I switched to do yoga, I still doing my hard practice. I love that. I love that.
I'm so happy about that, because there's no reason to approach yoga and even Buddhism and even meditation. There is a tone of the people. In Japan, there's a tone of the people in China, and it's a cultural tone. And sometimes when we find out about these teachings, and then we take on that cultural tone, which I don't really think is needed. I think that we can do these things and be ourselves, and as you are, bring your own culture. We're all one human family, right?
Yes.
So we don't, but we're also all different, right?
For sure.
Yeah, we're all different. That's what makes us the same.
Yeah, we are different gods.
Right?
That's what he likes to say. We're all different. That's what makes us the same. And you've become members of that channel, which I'm super delighted about.
Glad to be.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we hope to see you guys down here more, and maybe you'll be part of some of the events that we have around here, and you're not very far away.
Correct.
I know I'm going to come down and see you guys.
Yeah, I hope to see you guys there. And also,
Yeah, where are you guys again?
It's 714 Bloor Street West.
All right.
In fact, I'll take you over there.
Yay.
And we're going to come and visit.
Yeah.
This was fun. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome.
So thank you, guys. And again, the website is Ganja Yoga Toronto, right?
Yeah.
.com.
Yeah.
And so this is great. Anything else you want to leave us with today? Any final thoughts or words of wisdom?
I would say cast off any ideas that you have about cannabis and just explore. Just don't take somebody else's word for it.
And
take experiential knowledge, make it your own.
And we're seeing really there is something very strange happening, at least across North America, that it's just becoming legal, and Everybody is just kind of chilling out about it.
The
and
blinders are
just
coming
like,
off.
You know, and everybody's coming clean that,
It's just a plant.
because I've heard a lot of people actually use marijuana.
Yeah, I've heard that as well.
Yeah.
I have. All right, thank you.
Thank you
so much for being
so
here.
much. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
All right.
And this is actually the Liquid Lunch Show meets This Is Important.
Is it?
I think so. And This Is Important. That channel is hosting the Norman Felix Gallery. It's called Contact, and it'll be here for the month of May. So come on down to 600 Bay Street. That's where we are right now. And check out the art.
Yeah, absolutely. And the party, we're having an opening. It's on the 26th, Thursday the 26th. And you guys would be great if you guys could come. And we all just celebrate with the artists, looking at the art, and just have fun.
Right.
Why not have
Beautiful.
some fun?
Yeah.
Fun is good.
Okay,
All right.
guys, thank you so much.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was fun.
Okay, we're taking a break. Maybe this is in the end of the show, but Norman Evans is coming in, so stay tuned to thatchannel.com. We got lots more coming up.